What happened today, I think, is basically a sweetener for the small companies. I think for small firms, it is about actually learning from the mistakes of what the IT companies may have actually done, or the learnings of how to actually fast track, some of those opportunities. See, today, large enterprises are actually not looking for companies to have a massive financial backing. What they're looking for is unique value propositions, unique ideas, which are actually taking to the market. Speed of change, I think, is extremely important. So in that sense, the small companies and startup economy who are absolutely nimble, who can actually really bring innovation to the table and challenge the status quo, because they don't actually have a safety net, so they'll basically fight for better solutions, better products, etc. There's a great opportunity for it.
Australia is twice the size of India, and India has a population of 1.2 billion. And what's interesting about this 1.2 billion is a lot of youth coming out of that country. And we think this youth can be a very major driving force in uniting these two countries. There are 760,000 Indians who live in and call Australia their home. We would welcome more to come up and accelerate the growth of the IT sector and call this Australia their home too. We would welcome such relationship.
It's come at a time when the city of Springfield has been able to present a knowledge precinct with education, health and technology in Idea City. Now to get that integration at this point, together with our data centers and everything else, far more than rivals Silicon Valley. So it will be seen as a watershed in years to come, because we have 6 of the best and the biggest ICT companies from India. We're also very keen to invest and make their mark in Australia. And one of the challenges is, how do we convince state and federal governments to give these companies ICT contracts on a level playing field?
And I'm delighted that we are discussing now about one form of trade, and that is how the great institutions of the IT companies that are in India can look forward to a greater presence in Springfield and in Australia.
Meetings like today are critical to push the agenda and to push government, because we are behind on where we should be. It's wonderful, the words that the Prime Ministers have both said, but from my point of view, I think enough talking, we need more action.
I think if I look at it in 2 ways, I talk about the 2 L's. One is location and the other one is lifestyle. From a location perspective, it's very simple. We're 30 minutes from the Brisbane CBD. We're 45 minutes from a domestic and international airport. We've got a dedicated rail line and major highways leading to us. So from that perspective, it's ideal. But when I think about location, I think about a little bit more. I think about, what does it mean in terms of certainty for an investor? As the Chairman, Maha Sinnathamby, indicated, the Queensland Government has supported Greater Springfield through enabling legislation, but also through our South East Queensland Regional Plan. We identify Greater Springfield as a principal regional activity centre, and what that means is that we want to invest in this area because we see it as a major employment hub for the growing western and southern corridors of Greater Brisbane.
What Springfield City Group has done with AIBC partnership is very monumental. I have never seen such thing, bringing all top organizations coming together on the same platform. In this COVID era, I think it's amazing, and I think there's a huge opportunity. One thing which I would say as a part of this MOU, I think it'll be good to have a small blend of local Australian companies, 1 or 2 representatives, or neutral companies, so that it doesn't happen that all IT companies are, there's a competing interest. So I think if we can bring something there so that you can achieve some outcome.
People are now far more open-minded. They're looking to forge relationships between Australia and other countries. And certainly India is seen as a country where we have so many things, as Prime Minister Modi said during that clip that was played, shared values, a shared interest in having a stable Indo-Pacific region with a rules-based order, freedom of movement, etc. So I think people in Australia are understanding that. Their minds are opening to the opportunities, and those opportunities, in my view, are limitless.
Once you get these initiatives, it's like in the defence space, where you've got primes, which are those big companies, you get literally hundreds of SMEs, right? Or small, medium enterprises. So when you get large ICT companies setting up here or elsewhere, you get a legion of other businesses that interconnect on part of their supply chain. And so I would say that this could range anywhere from health, defense, education, range of different industry areas where small business or SMEs will start to flourish and get a bit of traction.
I think the relationship will just get stronger and deeper. And I think in part that will be driven by the wonderful Australian India diaspora we have. Over 700,000 Australians of Indian ethnicity are contributing every day to the success of our country, one of the greatest multicultural countries on the face of the world. And I think they're perhaps our greatest asset in terms of forging that relationship between Australia and India. So I'm sure it is going to go from strength to strength. The support's there from government. We've got the drive, the entrepreneurial excellence and vision of the private sector, and a real desire and ambition on behalf of the people of India and the people of Australia to forge a closer and closer relationship.
The beginning of the program just now with that wonderfully selected clip of the virtual summit between Prime Ministers Modi and Morrison was extremely useful. I think that showed very starkly how close the meeting of minds is between the two prime ministers and the two governments. Both have spoken of great possibilities, but I've also spoken of the expectations. They've talked about the ambition that we must share and that how much can be achieved because we are, as both of them agreed, friends and trusted partners. Trade and investment flows, as Prime Minister Morrison said, are not enough, but can grow faster. So I think the successful base that has already been set, which Senator Paul Scar mentioned, is an extremely useful foundation. But really much more can be done and ought to be done. To be perfectly candid with you, my feeling is that while our political relationship, the trust between the foreign offices, between the prime ministers, the defense relationship, the meeting of minds on the strategic aspects of our Indo-Pacific region, all that has moved to a very mature phase. I think our trade and investment relationship is lagging behind somewhat, and I completely agree with Mr. Milton Dick, who said as much and who said that we need to have less talk and more action. I do not think that there is enough happening in terms of businesses meeting together much more often, much more aggressively, much more intensively to take the trade and investments relationship also to as high a plane as the rest of the India-Australia relationship is at. And therefore, an event such as today is extremely opportune. I think it gives an opportunity to businesses to get to know each other better, to look at real possibilities, to discuss real businesses. And of course, in this particular case, we are looking at the Indian Technology Hub more as an investment by Indian IT companies in Springfield and Australia. But it's always a two-way street, as Ambassador Peter Varghese said, and things lead to a variety of other concomitant benefits, and we will see much more happening both ways.
We as Australians, we should stop seeing India from a lens of outsourcing. We should collaborate, because I think it's a best situation all from, Australians are very innovative mind. Indians know how to package it with the right technologies. I think we need to develop a joint IP development so that there is an interest on both sides, which is not a supplier and service providers relationship. I think geopolitics is also helping quite a lot in this. I believe this is the best time and opportune time for us to leverage and release this complete potential of this relationship, bilateral relationship, and it's coming.
As you think, so you become. So think really big, and this partnership can be great.